Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. So do you ever get super frustrated with glitter, vinyl, glitter HTV? You cut it, you pull it out of your machine and you're like, where did the cut lines go? So weeding it can be a huge pain. That is where a BrightPad or LITEPad or Light Box comes in. So it's something that is lit and you put your vinyl on top and then you can see those cut lines better. Now, Cricut released a BrightPad several years back. There are several LITEPads on the market on Amazon, and Cricut just released two new BrightPads, a new BrightPad and a BrightPad Go. So it's getting a little bit confusing. What is the best BrightPad for your money? Which one works the best? Which one should you purchase? Do you even need one? Let's talk about all of that in this video. So I have got 6 BrightPads, LITEPads, light boxes of various brands on my table here, and I am ready to show you the differences between all of them. So let's put all of them to the test as far as how bright they get, how well I can see the cut lines and weeding lines. I also like to be able to stick my iVyne berry onto the surface while I'm weeding. I'm also going to talk about which ones are cordless and which ones require a cord. And then the final test is I'm going to try to scratch the surface of these and see which ones are the most scratch resistant. So let's take a look at each of these and then we'll talk about which one's best for you and if you need one or not. All right, so I'm going to use the same cut for all these tests, and it is out of glitter vinyl, and this is the Cricut brand of glitter vinyl. So the first BrightPad I have is the original BrightPad. Now, I hate the cord on this one. It was the reason I stopped using it. I have to sort of prop the cord up, so I have some weeding tools and things under the cord here to prop it up, and that's the only way I can get it to turn on. And you can see that it's kind of like glitching, if you can tell on the camera, and so I have to play with the cord because it like has a short in it, and I had to get it just right and then not touch it. So hopefully I can get this to where it will work long enough so we can do the comparison. So this is why I do not like the original BrightPad, and it's just because of the cord. Otherwise I think it's a really good machine. Okay, so there it is. So it's working now. So you can see how it lights up the cut lines within the glitter vinyl. So glitter is the main one that I have issues with when weeding, and so I find that the BrightPad does a really good job. So I will say I like using the BrightPad. The reason I stopped using it was just because of the cord issue. So what I'm hoping is that they fixed that issue, and then of course I'm going to try some off brands to see how well they compare. So I'm using the iVyne weeding tools with this, and the other test I want to do on each one is to see if this weeding tool will stick on it. So this is the iVyne berry, and I'm going to test each of the pads to make sure it sticks on there as well. So what you use it for is when you're weeding, you can just clean your weeding tool off with the berry. So I find it super helpful when weeding. So I am going to make sure that that will stick to each of these. And then the other thing I'm going to check is scratch resistance. And then on each of the BrightPads, I'm actually going to scratch it or attempt to scratch it with the weeding tool and see how well it stands up. So this one stands up really well. Again, it's the original Cricut BrightPad. The only thing I didn't like about this one was the cord. So let's test. They have a new BrightPad as well as a cordless option, and let's see how those stand up. All right, here's the old BrightPad versus the new BrightPad. So the first thing I noticed is that the old BrightPad had a plus and minus to turn the brightness up and down, and the new BrightPad just has one button. The other thing I noticed right away is that the cord stays in there much, much better. So I have this rigged up, I think. Okay, so there's the old BrightPad, and I'm gonna kind of hold the cord, and here's the new BrightPad. So this would be, there is the lowest setting on both. To me, they are comparable. And to alter the settings on the new one, you just press the power button again, second setting, pretty comparable. Up one more time, and the new BrightPad does seem to be a little bit brighter, and hopefully you can start to see these lines come through on video. Just because of the cord issue, this old BrightPad kind of flickers. I'm sorry about that. But you can see that they're both turned all the way up, and the brightness is comparable. I do feel like maybe the new one is a little brighter, but it may have to do with the flickering issue. All right, so I'm zoomed in once again, so hopefully you can see the cut lines on the glitter vinyl. And again, this one is comparable. It is exactly the same size as the old one, so the size did not change. The iVyne berry sticks on the new one just as well. And so now I'm going to do the scratch test. So now I'm just using a weeding tool and attempting to scratch that surface just in the corner. And again, I don't feel anything after I've scratched it, so it should be a fairly durable surface. So now let's test the Cricut BrightPad Go, which is supposed to be the cordless version of this BrightPad. All right, so here is the new BrightPad. This is the BrightPad Go, which is the cordless model. It did have a charge right out of the box, and when you turn it on, as long as this is white, then it's charged. If it's red, it needs charging. So with the Go, the plus and minus buttons came back to turn the brightness up and down. So let's do a little comparison on the brightness first of all. So we'll turn these both on and turn this one all the way down, and similar brightness. Go up one on each, similar brightness. Go up another one on each, and I would say similar brightness. The plugged in one might be a little brighter, but that is because the BrightPad Go had a fourth setting. So let's turn them both all the way up. And now I can see that the brightness is comparable between the two. The BrightPad Go did come with a charging cord, so you can charge it up when that light turns red or whenever you need to. However, it does run off battery. And they do say that the battery lasts quite a while. I'm kind of excited about it being cordless because the cord is a super headache when you want to take it somewhere to weed. All right, so now let's look at the cut lines with the BrightPad Go. One more thing, just if you're interested. So these are the backs. This is the original BrightPad. This is the new BrightPad. And this is the BrightPad Go. So the color between the original and the new version is very similar, but the BrightPad Go got a super cool navy blue color. So here's a look with the BrightPad Go at those cut lines. And again, it makes it much easier to see those cut lines and weed. And the iVyne berry sticks on great to the BrightPad Go as well. So now let's do that scratch test. So here is the BrightPad Go. And again, just over here in the corner, I'm going to attempt to scratch the surface. And actually on this one, I can feel and see the scratches on the BrightPad Go. So whereas the other two, I could not scratch the surface, on the Go, I definitely can. So you would want to be careful when using your tools because I can definitely feel and see those scratches. Next up is a find on Amazon from a company called LITENERGY. I just picked various listings on Amazon that I thought might work. So I will say first of all, this one feels much flimsier than any of the BrightPads. I have the BrightPad Go under here just for comparison's sake. It just has one button. It's not really raised, and when you just, like you saw, I just pushed my finger over it, you don't have to push it. So you just kind of brush across it, and you just sort of hold towards the bottom and it will get dimmer, and you hold kind of towards the top and it'll get brighter. So a little odd there. So I would just like to compare it on the brightest setting because that's what I use most often. So we will attempt to get this to the brightest setting. Okay, I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to say that's the brightest, and we'll turn this on at its brightest setting. And I'd say it's comparable. The one from Amazon might be a little bit dimmer, but not a ton. So now let's look at the cut lines. So now you can get sort of an up close and personal look at those cut lines and see that it does in fact illuminate those. And you can stick the iVyne berry to this light pad. So now it's time for that scratch test, and let's see if I can scratch the surface. And I can definitely scratch the surface. So these scratches are even deeper than what I saw on the BrightPad Go. So you would definitely not want to get your sharp tools on the surface of this, as it would definitely scratch up. All right, the next one is this pink one. I ordered a completely different listing than the silver, different brand name and everything. This is the same light pad, just in a different color. So when you're looking at those Amazon listings, you do have to be aware of that. I feel like this is the same level of brightness, and it works that same way, which I don't really like, with the little touch thing up here in the corner. And I do feel like it scratches the same amount as the silver one. Like, it's literally the same pad. So I won't do like all my tests. It is the same as the silver, it's just in pink. And again, I'm not crazy wild about it. It's a little flimsy, and then I do not like this touch button up here. So now let's move on to my third one from Amazon. All right, my last one is from Amazon, and it's actually from iVyne. That's the manufacturer, and they're the ones that make this berry as well as the weeding tools I'm using. I do like their other tools, so I'm excited to try their light pad. Now, it does come with a protective film over the top. So I did not remove that before starting to film, so I'm going to remove that now to show you. So it just has a sticker in the corner that allows you to easily grip it, and then you just peel back the protective film before you start to use it. Then the charging cord is on the side, and there's an on-off button on the side, and as you hit that button, it makes it brighter and dimmer, and then off. So let's compare the brightness first of all to the Cricut Brightpad Go. All right, so they both have 5 settings. This is the lowest setting, second setting, third setting, this is the 4th setting, and this is the 5th and final setting. So the BrightPad Go might be a little brighter. The iVyne is more of a yellow light instead of a white light, I think is the difference here. So let's take a look at the cut lines with the iVyne. But before we look at those cut lines, I forgot to mention the most important part of the iVyne light pad. It is also cordless. So once you charge that battery, you have 6.5 hour battery life. So now I can turn that up and have it at its brightest setting. So now let's take a look at those weeding lines. So the light makes it super easy to see those weeding lines, and then I can stick my iVyne berry over to the side and then just clean my weeding tool off onto it. So now let's take a look at the scratch resistance. You can still kind of feel the scratches slightly in the surface. So it's definitely something that's comparable to the BrightPad Go, and it's a lot less expensive, and it comes in a lot of different colors as well. So it's definitely a good option for those looking for something similar to the BrightPad Go. This is definitely as heavy duty, I would say, as the BrightPads themselves. All right, so my 2 favorites are definitely the cordless versions. I'm just gonna say that. So you watched me absolutely struggle with that cord of the original BrightPad, and I'm not going through that again. I'd rather just charge it and use it cordless. And that way, so my cords were starting messing up when I traveled with my original BrightPad, like I had an event to go to. So I do travel with mine, and I think that kind of like messed the cord up. And plus, when I travel, I don't always have access to an outlet, so the cordless versions are really the ones for me personally. So let's talk about the best cordless and corded model of a BrightPad or light box, whatever you want to call it. So I think that the iVyne and the BrightPad Go are equivalent, both in brightness and durability / scratch resistance. So I would, for the money, probably go with the iVyne because it is considerably cheaper. Now, if you are just a Cricut fan and love all their products, I don't think you can go wrong with the Cricut Brightpad Go. I really don't. Corded versions, I did not find a great alternative. If you were just like, I don't want the cordless, I don't want the battery. So the original BrightPad, of course, I don't like because of the cord. The new BrightPad, I will say they fixed the cord issue, so again, I really do like it. But the two I ordered off Amazon were just a fail for me. Super cheap, flimsy construction, scratched really bad, and I hated this little button here with the turn on and turn up, turn down thing. So they were like a huge no from me. So if I just had to have the cord, I think I would go with the Cricut Brightpad itself. But I think you should definitely consider the cordless models. I think you will be happier. So that brings us to, do you need a light box for weeding? If you at any point in time have struggled with seeing the cut lines on vinyl or HTV, a light box or a BrightPad will definitely help you with that. I can guarantee you will see a difference. And then you're gonna say, like, why can't I just take my little piece of vinyl and I can put it up against the window and I can weed against the window? You can absolutely do that, but if you have a ton of weeding, it's really nice to sit down in front of the television with one of these guys, turn it on, and start weeding away. So that's why I would recommend the cordless version, sitting in front of the television, weeding away that glitter vinyl and glitter HTV, especially with something like a BrightPad or a light box. So I definitely like it for my crafting because I struggle personally, especially with the glitter. I think I basically just use it for the glitter though. The other ones I seem to be able to see pretty well without any assistance. So I will say I only use it when I use glitter. So if you only use glitter once a year for one small project, I probably maybe would not invest in a light box. But if you use glitter like that's your favorite, you always use glitter, you use it on as many projects as you can, and you always struggle with seeing the lines and weeding it, light box, BrightPad, whichever one you pick from this video, I think it will help you out. So grab your glitter vinyl, grab your light box or BrightPad, whichever one you decide on. Hopefully this video helps you a little bit, and get to crafting with your Cricut machine. So I will link to all of these BrightPads and LightPads in the description below. If you are watching on computer, click show more. If you're watching on mobile, swipe up to see the full description. So I hope this helps you. If it did, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions about anything we've covered, any of these BrightPads, light boxes, light pads, any questions at all, please ask them in the comment section below. If you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos like this every week and you don't want to miss any of them. So thank y'all so much for joining me and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.